Hello and welcome to our place in Sicily. And I am with my favorite designer in the whole world, Jennifer Bertrand.
You're so nice.
Is a Jen as crazy as I am. Our goal is to match each other's Jen energy. And for those of you who are new here, I'm the crazy American who is now a resident in Sicily, and I bought an abandoned palazzo. It has 31 different rooms, not bedrooms, but 31 different rooms. And I called Jen one day I texted her and said, Jen, remember me? Do you want to work on a palazzo? And she didn't even really let me finish the email. I think the whole universe felt that. She's like, yes. And then she's like, what are the details afterwards? So she said yes. She can't back out now. And today's sort of talk, Jen and I are going to talk a little bit about the back and forth. So I'm going to give some updates. Jen's going to ask some questions. But you're going to get to see sort of how I work with the architect Igor Grapaldi and how I work with Jen and how I help connect them. In a perfect world, I'd have them all locked in my own closet forever and ever. Oh, that sounded creepy. In the perfect world, we would get to all see each other once a week, but we don't. So, and that would be cost prohibitive because it's going to take months or years to finish this project from start to finish. But Jen, I'm so glad to see you. You just got back from filming. You've gotten a little sleep. You remember what your family looks like, all that good stuff.
Yes, we did a whole house in 11 days for a military veteran, and like the opposite kind of adventure of what we're doing with you, where it's over years. But the fun part is it restores your faith in humankind because you don't care what anyone believes in life. You all come together and you work hard. I call it design summer camp because at the end, everyone's like, oh, bye. Like you made friends you never thought you would cross paths with, and everyone's sharing their skill set to love on a veteran. So it's good humans doing good things.
It's fantastic. And all you guys who are watching this and sending me these cool emails and comments, and like the people who are reaching out to me from all over the world saying like, I'm from that town and my grandfather lived there. And so all of you, you know who you are. Hello. And you make my heart sing. And I think I've responded to all of you, but if I haven't, just know I love to hear that. I was at this like little women's retreat this week, and I was telling them that I've never been happier and that I feel like I don't deserve a palazzo. And they said, you're just its guardian. So you're the guardian of the palazzo. And that made me feel really good. So I am the guardian of the palazzo, and I'm going to figure out how to make it so I can share it with as many people as possible. And you're going to help me make it beautiful and cool and wacko.
And I want to start by saying I was telling other Jen, that the goal is to share with you guys how does it work when you're a creative human like Jen and you just need I'm her design fairy godmother. So she's the guardian of the palazzo. I'm the fairy godmother who helps her just think her ideas through. Right. She's approaching this with such an artistic approach, which I think everyone will appreciate. They won't understand it at first, but as it starts to layer, they'll see the integrity that's layered within. But I think it's showing you guys how we catch up and how I catch up to her brain each week.
Exactly. So I think we should start with what's going on. I can fill you in on everything. Okay, so you've seen the mesh or the wire sort of reinforcement that has gone up. I thought they were going to spray a cement onto that to sort of tie it to the rock, but they actually have been doing it all manually. So there's a little cement mixer going all day, and bucket by bucket they're slapping that up in the wall.
Troweling it on.
They're troweling. Well, they're kind of I think I've been told it's called parging in the US. That's what we've called it, like when they needed to reinforce those stone wall in our last house. And they told me what it is in Italian, and I can't remember. Yeah. Because it was told to me in very thick Sicilian Italian accent. But they basically and I have some video. I'll actually pop up a link to that video on here too. The guys the workers like stopping for me to record. They're like, would you like to see this recorded? And so they look like very official. And so anyways, we got a little video of them doing that too. And yeah, one at a time up the scaffolding. And then the next layer that will be coming will be sprayed on, and that is the plaster layer, but it's a thick plaster layer that will get sprayed on. And then
Real quick, can I interrupt? They've already run the wires where we talked about, correct? So this is all happening on top of what we kind of planned.
Exactly. Well, they've left it open, so the electrician at some point going to come in and put those but yeah, there's little spaces all around the house
So like
for
channels in the wall. Okay, perfect.
Exactly. And then I guess they'll just come in and seal up over that, but they've left it open so they don't have to pull it off. But yeah, so there's 3 layers. There's the cement layer that they're putting on now by hand, which can be sprayed if you have the machine to do it, but it was just going to take us longer to sit and wait for the machine, so the guys were doing it themselves. And then the next layer will be sprayed, I've been told, and it is a plaster layer, but it's a thick plaster layer, not like what we're used to in the States. It's a thicker one, and then your finish layer. And Igor said to think about the finish layer as the paint, but this could be the micro cement, this could be stucco, this could be paint, it could be a number of Venetian plaster, it can be whatever it is, but that's really the finish. You wouldn't just end with the sprayed on plaster. So that's where we're going around with the walls. We've been having little conversations about the little alcove, and I'm excited. I sent you a little video, and we can pop that in while I'm talking about it. But essentially, Igor liked what we were doing with the laundry room, with sort of color blocking that sort of little aisleway. And he was like, we should do that back there and sort of tie them in. So he liked one idea enough. We're going to do it twice. And he said, like, let's leave that whole room open so it feels like you're walking through sort of a sitting room, like a little private sitting room for the main bedroom. And then when somebody's coming to stay, it'll have doors that will pull out of the wall, and you'll be able to close it up and make it its little nook. So it can be really multi-purpose, multifunctional. We will leave the space sort of open. And he said to just think about what we're going to build up as the furniture. You know, the Italians think about a lot of things as furniture, like your kitchen cupboards are furniture to them. I feel like we think about it slightly differently, but so they're always like, oh, that's furniture. That's not a wall. We don't think about that yet. So, but it really, I think, is a brilliant idea. And he had also, in one of the iterations, I think I maybe sent to you in between, he had suggested we use some of that hallway space to add on to the bedroom closet, and that's genius. So we saved that idea. And it's just like you and I kind of have this back and forth. It's nice to do that with Igor. I get random texts every once in a while. I can tell he must be working on my project. He'll be like, how about this? And one of those is our electrical fixtures. I don't know what you would call those fixtures, the switches, the plugs and stuff. So you and I already done the hard work. And then I consolidated all of that onto one sheet. And Igor yesterday, because we met at the house, said, I will draw these up on the plan so the guys know exactly where they're at. He knows what I'm saying when I go, this is the TV plug and this is countertop. So he's going to put those all in. But we went through yesterday and decided which things were outlets, which things were USB plugs, which kind of plugs we want, because that's a whole thing.
How did he do with how many you wanted?
He didn't do bad, especially since I said every place where I said there's one, I really mean 2.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You have like 5 underneath the desk. And that was his suggestion. I was like, you're almost an American. So no, he was totally fine. We found these lovely little, should pop up a picture of this too. These lovely little fixtures, that sort of turn to do on and off, and dimmers. And you know what? I need to talk to. I'm going to make myself a note.
Lomax has one like that, so it could be like that. And when we start getting more details, one thing I do on some of my out of town projects is like we could have a WhatsApp text thread where even if it's just you two talking, I'm watching. So
Yeah.
my brain can keep up with you two and you're not having to constantly relay it to me and I
Yep.
just watch. So you
That's
decide
perfect.
when that happens, but
Great.
I'll just be the
Eventually Igor will be like, I need help managing me, so he'll need you. Definitely. I think we're getting close to that. And yeah, so they're really cool. That you can pick which, if you want a white porcelain or black porcelain and what color you want the toggle. I think I want to go with the antique brass.
Think about it. You don't have to tell the same story in every room. So that's when now your brain's got to start thinking those finishes because how it layers. It's the hardest part for homeowners is how far you have to think ahead of when those decisions layer into each other.
It is hard. It is hard. Let's see. Other things we've talked about. We talked a little bit about the niche in the front room that we want to be a bookshelf.
Yeah.
Igor was in the entryway, which is on the other side of where that's going to be, and he's trying to decide what we do with those two doorways we're going to close up and how we're going to close them up. So if we have time later, I'll tell you.
Would they become light art on the other side or anything like that? Are they in a spot where they would be cool making it an art installation or backlit something on the other side?
That's exactly what we kind of want to do, but we need to pick your brain because we want to keep the outline of. There's a doorway that's stone, right? It's a big, beautiful, chunky stone. It's been painted over, so we'll clean that off. But we don't want it to look like we've just left and closed up a doorway. So we were thinking maybe it's a little table that like goes into the opening a little bit, and maybe it's round and comes out a little bit, and that's a beautiful marble or something, and then below that is the marble. I don't know. We were just talking. We're like, Jen will have a good idea.
This all makes me so happy. Like this is just like, oh, I'm so excited. Okay.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna have a stone or marble moment in the front.
Yes.
There's small parts, so we can do it and afford it because it's not like.
You need to start becoming best friend with a local fabricator of marble because like I have another client, she's making these beautiful bun feet of marble. So like imagine when you start playing with shapes or doing it, they drill a hole and you stack it to become a leg. This client, this other client did blocks of marble into a leg. Like I just love people's brains. So, and I think that you'll do your story of that. So start slowly figuring out who that is, because then you'll play with the remnants of marble and that's how you create it.
That's fantastic. I think.
What do we owe him next? That's what I always worry about. My brain's like, what do I need to help you with to stay on track?
I think what we need next is what I said we needed next last time, but then I didn't do my homework, is finishing picking out the lights and figuring out how we want to outfit the wet bath, the main bedroom ensuite bathroom. Realize we have to decide if we're going to do the Toto toilet or just do a toilet with the spray because it is in a wet room. If we do what kind of sink, I don't have any of that stuff picked out because that wasn't added because we added a whole bathroom because 8 wasn't enough bathrooms.
Well, so I think like one, if you go, okay, what is the story in that whole bathroom? And if you go, okay, you have that kind of Moroccan influence in one, which has a like deep blue, correct? With your tile and with a gold. Is it that the whole bathroom is all wrapped in a plaster blue, like it's cobalt intense, or it's ombre plaster into it or something like that? But part of me is now you've got to start bridging your worlds and go from there. On the lighting fixtures, how many fixtures are we short of for that space?
So we need basically the lighting that's going to go on in the kitchen are all variations of the same thing, which we were talking about. It's sort of a track light, a wood cover.
White wood, yeah.
Yep. So we were thinking about that and something just simple over the sink and one over the table, and we already have the chandelier for the middle of the room.
So for anyone watching, it's basically we kind of looked through, picked high level, got inspiration and vibes, and then for Jenn, she gets to go out and have adventures and try to find stuff like that, or left turn it totally different to whatever your brain falls in love with. And my job's to constantly help you pivot and make it make sense.
And help me from being crazy.
No,
Totally crazy.
I like it. I'm all for a pivot moment. My goal is though that when those locals walk through the house one day, that they're not like, this lady's crazy. Instead, it's like, wow, it's such a curated, eccentric vibe.
Yeah. And overall, I really want to make sure it still feels homey, which is something I never felt confident with my decorating in Boston.
The lesson for everyone is soften on yourself. Look at your house with outside eyeballs, because it's probably better than you realize.
Well, that's kind. That's very kind. And I think, it's true. I think, but it was the reason why I really wanted to bring you into this, is that I felt like put stuff together. It doesn't mean I did a good job, but it, maybe isn't this,
I'll be
standard.
your Flavor Flav hype man, but I'll also never humor you. I will, like, you'll be my US water polo team, where I'm going to encourage you, but I'm also always going to give you tough love for the sake of outside eyeballs. So, like, for example, like those 2 beautiful brass chandeliers you sent, love, love, love. But then you go, okay, how is the scale in the space? Like, they'd be perfect hanging over nightstands or doubled up over a low ceiling dining table. But how do they do in other spaces?
Right.
And sometimes the hardest part is restraint of going, dang it, it doesn't work.
Well, I saw them in person, and looks like somebody tried to refinish one, so they're 2 different finishes, so they're off the table. At that price, they're off the table, but they're beautiful. Okay, so while we're talking, before we go like dig in deep, and we're talking about exchanging ideas and going back and forth, I think maybe we can give the example a little bit of the lemon the lemon mural I just sent you. And actually what we just did with the lighting. So I find things online. Unfortunately, a friend taught me that you can just follow all the antique stores, and they show you new stuff that comes in, and then you're like, I need to go to the antique store now and go buy these things. But I have purchased a few really cool things at really great prices. And so what I've been doing is sending them to Jenn. What do you think? And I
have to say, this is how I know when she sends me something, because I have 2 projects on WhatsApp right now, and keeping up with WhatsApp is hard when you're in America, because it's just not what we use all the time. But I will be scrolling through my pictures, and there'll be a weird picture, and I'll know it's Jenn. I'll be like, she got some plates, or she got a weird chair. Like, it's really fun, because sometimes it'll surprise me. Then I'm getting better at WhatsApp, but I always know it's you.
In a few instances, the chairs, the little black wood carved chairs, and the little memory plates, again, I can pop those up here in editing, were both things that I liked, and Matt wasn't sure about. He's just like, I don't understand how you'd use those. And I tried to explain it, and we went and looked at the wall so I could show him where I'd put them, and he just is like, I don't really know. And I said, would you like me to ask Jenn? And he said, yes, ask Jenn. I'm totally cool if she thinks it's a good idea. Because it's not that he doesn't like it, it's that he doesn't understand the vision, and that's totally
another human like you to bounce it off of.
Right. That also can tell me when I'm crazy, because he might just say yes to be nice to me, and you will tell me no if you're like, I've tried that before, it doesn't work, it'll look this, whatever. So we've done that. And then also part of my homework was, we talked last time about, I had this idea for some texture in the kitchen. And I told you, like, what I don't want to do is make it look like I decorated this house from the souvenir shop. But lemons are important here, and I wanted to find a really classy way to do them. And I was saying, I went down a rabbit hole for using joint compound and plaster, and you can actually build up things. Normally, you'd build up like old plaster trim around, a fancy ceiling, but you can do other things with it. And you're like, I think I like the idea, but could you sketch it? So I'm saying yes to the thing I think you're thinking. And so I got that to you today. And I think you understand now the thought of it.
Love, love, love. I think the artistic approach to it and that it's done in such a way with integrity and not cheesy, not contrived is great. I was watching how they did it because I think I did my first bas relief carving. It was a reverse carving in porcelain, but
Ah,
this is more a build-up process.
for sure.
I love. I was watching how she was doing it with the trowel knife, and I was like, okay, cool, cool. Just in case, like, I'm your
Yes.
backup in case you're ever like, "Hey, Jen, come help me do
Yeah,
these
come
sleeves."
help.
But I thought, how beautiful and just done well and right and the right amount. I showstopper without being in your face.
Yeah. And did you like the scale? Okay, I couldn't tell from your response if you were
No,
like,
I did.
the scale's
I
gonna matter, like you need to change the scale or
no, I just meant if you did it too small, it's gonna like spit a design at it. I liked
yeah.
your scale. You went larger. It's that
I think it
fine
needs to be
line.
extended a little bit. I think it needs something. I think it needs an extension a little bit to the left side because it
And
feels a little
I
like
think
it's tight.
anytime it can meander and break a plane, so wall to ceiling tippy toe or wall
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
corner and wrap around. So I think once your room is set, it's designing where does it live around the kitchen? Is it just
Right,
one wall or is it anchoring, three corners of it, leaving the
right.
the studio over there alone
Yeah.
because that's for creatives, but maybe it peekaboos in corners or whatever.
Mhm.
It'll be
Yeah.
fun as it starts to evolve.
I agree. I agree. So anyways, that's guys how we go back and forth. I think everybody we've given you a good idea of our back and forth. We'll end the end of this with a little Italian lesson. But now Jen and I are going to go on to our rest of our in-depth work and we'll give you little bits and pieces of it. So
Yes.
so what I'm thinking is if I could find ideally I could find two matching antique mirrors, but I'm
Yeah.
okay if actually they don't match, but it would be cool if I could find two because that's the big challenge. And it's an antique mirror that we've turned into a medicine cabinet there,
Yeah.
but with a modern drawer. So like I want to see in everything sort of a more modern, so
Yeah.
1960s and after with the vintage mixed in. And if it ever is looking too much one or the other, I failed.
Yeah.
So
Well, and
that's
I
what I
think
want to do.
I've done his and hers. So I've
Mhm.
done a his and hers for primary bathrooms where they're very specific to each person,
Mhm.
like tall versus shorter, or how you
Mhm.
each use the bathroom. So,
Yep.
for example, I had one couple, he was very W hotel, she was more concrete and white and
Mhm.
that. And for him, we spent like 4 hours doing his drawers and where his washcloth went and all of that. So
Yep.
I think part of it is that might be one thing where you come prepared with how Matt's morning routine is, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and we just kind of break down the morning routine as movement, and then the design follows suit. I think let's start with your living spaces, your bedroom,
Yeah.
and because people always do those last, and I think it should be first because that's where you
Mhm.
start and end your day. Plus, that'll set the tone for everything else.
Right. I like to end. This was actually your idea to teach a little Italian every time. So
Course.
today's word is legno. So the GN is like gnocchi, right?
Mm.
So you say gno like onion. So legno is wood.
Legno,
And
legno.
it was funny because we now are going to do our cabinets custom, which we think is actually cheaper than getting them from IKEA. So that's a plus, and we're going to get exactly what we want. We're very excited, and we'll like take everybody along for that. But I did price them out at a little kitchen place, so nicer than IKEA. It's actually the same ones that you can't see, but in the apartment I have, it's like the same exact style that we were going for. But it's interesting because a lot of Italians you take your kitchen with you. Your kitchen is just furniture that happens to be attached to the wall. So if you rent an unfurnished apartment, it probably won't have a kitchen in it. You'll have to go to IKEA and buy it, or you can go to the thrift stores and buy somebody else's old kitchen. It's just you buy. It's very interesting. And so I think because of that, they don't spend the same amount of money we do in the US. Like the kitchen is, I don't know, you can tell me, Jen, like 3 to 5 times more than any other room that you do in the house, even
It's
if you
absurd. It's
it's
absurd.
really, yeah. Um, and so But I was trying to explain to this gentleman who was helping me, and he didn't speak English. I mean, maybe enough, like maybe 3 words. He didn't speak English. And my Italian was pretty rough. It was maybe 6 months ago. I'm much better, more confident now. But even then, I figured out the whole kitchen layout with him. In not the two of us didn't speak the same language, but I wanted to make sure I was getting real wood doors and not like an MDF wood or whatever. And so we just started calling it legno, which is wood, not like wood. Legno. So the whole time he'd show me something new. I was like, ma, which means but, ma legno. And he's like, si, legno. So anyways, one of those first construction words I learned very well.
See, now you need to film stuff like that too. That's
I know, I do. You're right. So more stuff coming. We have so much to do. Really, Jen, I want to just do a road trip as we go and collect all our stuff in some creepy little white windowless van.
When I come to Italy, we're going to strap a camera to me because I want people to see my adventures and how it looks through my eyeballs and stuff like that. So,
well, I can't wait. And I'll have to make sure I don't hug you for too long when I do that, because nobody will be able to see anything out of the camera. Yay. Jen, thank you for this. The only problem is I leave our meeting so excited, and it's like late at night. It's not late at night. It's time for dinner, but it's like I gotta like calm back down. But I'm so excited every time I see you. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching, Jen, and that you learned a little something about like how to work with other creatives. And this is like even if you aren't creative, but I will tell you the truth. If you say you aren't creative, I will call you a liar, because everybody's creative in some way, whether it's with numbers, bad accountants creative with numbers, but we all find ways we all have to solve solutions for work, whether it's making a little kid happy in kindergarten class or finding a new song to sing as the choir teacher, or like, I hate my job as this and I'm going to find creative ways to get through the day. Those are all being creative. So I think everybody's creative in their own way, and just a lot of people haven't embraced that. But hopefully you've learned how to think new ways of collaborating with people, because really what you get in the end is a better product if you bring more brains in. Not too many, but more brains.
And then now we're going to start digging in.
I will bring a shovel. Jen, ciao. It was nice.
Ciao.